Hey guys, Dan Casella here with something interesting I found at my historical society that I run here in Cedarville, New Jersey, the Lawrence Township Historical Society. We have here a scrapbook with newspaper clippings from a newspaper called the West Jersey Pioneer, which was out of Bridgeton, New Jersey. And here I'm going to read an article published. It was called Camp Correspondence, Camp of the 7th New Jersey Volunteers near Cumberland, Virginia, May 18th, 1862. A man by the name of Benjamin Ogden would write this. Benjamin Ogden is buried not too far from here, actually only a couple hundred yards from the Historical Society in the Presbyterian Church here in Cedarville. All right, the article reads, Dear brother, I suppose you wish to hear something from me in reference to our battle. I shall have to be brief, for this, a half sheet, is all the paper I have. We lost our knapsacks and everything except what we have on our backs, and money is of no use here yet. For there is nothing to buy. Only once in a while some sutler gets a barrel of crackers which he sells at 25 cents a pound, and tobacco for $1 a plug. But I must speak of our contest, although it makes me feel very sad every time I mention it, for it renews the recollection that one of our members lies beneath the battleground. Oh, how we miss him. When the battle commenced, 6 of us Cedarville boys stood side by side in the front rank. At night, 1 lay dead on the field and 2 in the hospital wounded. 3 came without a scratch, although I had 3 bullet holes through my overcoat cape. I did not know that poor Elmer had fallen, or that Lorenzo Painter and Albert Bateman were wounded until night. One don't notice much that takes place around him in such a time as that. After the battle was over, I began to inquire where our boys were, but I had not seen any of them except Joseph Burt. He told me that Elmer B. Ogden was killed, for he saw him fall, and that A. Bateman was wounded before he fired a gun, and L. Paintner was also slightly wounded. This was sad news to hear. Sleep was impossible, for we were wet to the skin. We had nothing to eat but a few hard crackers. How I had longed for a hot cup of coffee, but owning to the badness of the roads, the teams could not get up to us. So I ate what little I had, drank some hot water, and felt very thankful that it was as well with me as it was. We built a large fire and sat by it till morning, when General Hooker, God bless him, sent men on horseback to fetch us something to eat as soon as possible. About 10 o'clock they came with bags of crackers and salt beef slung across the horse's back, and also some coffee. You can't begin to know the joy of us half-starved soldiers. For I don't suppose you ever had the trial, and God grant you may never. I was so glad to get a piece of raw salted beef that I sat down and cried for joy. Perhaps you may think it was foolish, but even our major shed tears to see the men tear into the raw beef with a good relish. After eating all we wanted, I went to the field where we had spent the previous day. There I saw sad sights I shall never forget. Many of the wounded were still laying on the ground, uttering cries that would startle the stoutest heart. The captain said we would bury Elmer where he fell. Sergeant Stiles and myself dug a grave and buried him. This was hard to do. The rebels had taken everything out of his pockets, and even the rings off his fingers. The only thing they left was a pair of gloves, which I sent to his mother. General Hooker says we were whipped 3 times, but did not know it. He says we are not soldiers, but bulldogs. We do not stay in one place long, but keep closing up towards Richmond. The report is the rebels have made a stand on towards Richmond, and if it is my duty to be in another contest, I am ready, but I have no wish to see any more battles. I could tell you much more if I had paper. We expect to move tomorrow morning. I still remain your brother, Benjamin F. Ogden. Now, there is a headstone to Elmer Ogden here in the Presbyterian Church in town, which is a little bit behind me, up the road a ways. Like I said, Benjamin Ogden is buried a little bit from him. It's interesting that Benjamin Ogden's headstone reads Captain, although he never raises above the rank of private during his time of service. He must have been involved in the Grand Army of the Republic or some other organization to where he would have been recognized as captain, because it clearly states in his records that he doesn't. It also, on his headstone, is a big diamond, a big Third Corps badge. So he was very proud to be part of the Third Corps. And as you can tell, he's very proud to be a part of Hooker's division. Even though Hooker goes and calls him a bulldog, calls his men bulldogs, which I think is awesome. And yeah, the salt beef with a good relish, I think, was a good point. And it also gives account to the fact that Elmer Ogden may still possibly be buried on some field in Williamsburg, Virginia, and that his headstone is just a placeholder for him in his family plot here in Cedarville. All right, guys, everyone, for tuning in, thank you so much. That was cool. I read that, and I was totally blown away, and I just had to share. Okay, all right, thank you guys for tuning in. If you like my YouTube page, you can go ahead and subscribe. That would be cool. A like and a share would be awesome as well. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Cheers.